Welcome back to part 2 of our Streamer Therapy podcast, season 3. If you missed part 1, go back and watch it. It's where we talked about mental health in streaming, as well as tons of interesting things and off-topic conversations, of course. And if you've watched or listened to the previous episode, you know I'm here with two beauties called KitKatGinger and KiwiSimsKate. So where we left off is we want to talk about imposter syndrome, okay? Because we're talking about, where do we balance the authenticity with privacy? Like this is such a hard streaming balance, right? Like being ourselves, but then not giving too much away, not doxing ourselves. It's all this. But then I feel like it comes back to this question, which is like about the imposter. So imposter syndrome is common among creators. I don't know. I don't want to speak for you guys. So have you dealt with it, and what helps you overcome those feelings?
Oh, yeah.
See, that's a resounding. I knew, but I didn't want to just like say the thing, So
some people are really confident about things. I don't have that confidence. To believe in myself that much. I think especially early on, and I mean even now I'll be like, ugh, no one wants to be here. Like no one wants me to do this. I'm having fun. But afterwards it's like, no one wants to be here. Like especially early on, it's with that like comparing yourself to others and thinking, oh, I should be doing better. Because some people get affiliate really fast, get partner what seems like fast, and build those viewer levels. Words are hard, but like they get that viewer retention, and it could just be like the type of content that they're making, it's different than what I'm making, and that's okay, because sometimes the people who like have bigger audiences or have like a different vibe than I do, than we do in our streams, like chaotic all the time. Just like very high energy. And that's not like usually what I'm looking for in a stream that I'm watching anyway. But because it's just like a nice way to relax and chill with friends. Sometimes it's fun to be a little over the top, but usually, I mean, like Kay says she's chaotic. What are you talking about?
I said sprinkles of chaos.
Yeah.
Yes. Like sometimes it's like the whole bag. You just don't know what's going to come out of a stream.
And that's okay. But I don't know how those people who are really high energy, how they do that all the time.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. You're saying, because there's two different types of chaos, right? So I want to say that the three of us have the right amount of chaos. Like we have the chaos that's still very cozy, but like not like brings the energy down, but there's a level of chaos, and I know what you're talking about. It's those where the chat is insane, and I feel like I want to use the word toxic here. I feel like there's some toxic chaos as well, and I know what that's about because I've been in some people's streams where the streamer doesn't acknowledge it or is okay with it, and is just sort of letting it happen because sometimes it is what brings the views in, and then those people tend to stay. I don't know. I reckon it's like a younger audience though, because I'm like 100 years old, so I don't know. I feel like it's a young person game. But yeah, sorry. Going back to imposter syndrome, KitKat, you definitely feel like you have that.
Yeah, and I think like because sometimes you can like get in your head and start comparing yourself to other streamers, even when you're like, oh, I don't like, I'm not looking for growth. I'm looking for just like something, just like a fun hobby. It's not about becoming a full-time streamer and going on influencer trips and all this stuff. Like it's just about having fun. Earlier on, it was harder to like get over that and just like feel like I don't want to be here. No one wants to be here. No one likes listening to me talk like on YouTube. But
that one guy.
And I was saying I did delete that comment, so I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
It's just like trying to remember that you are valuable, no matter whether there's nobody in chat or there's 80 people in chat. Like you're still a person. It's kind of like with work too. It's like you're a person outside of work. You're still valuable outside of work, even if the capitalist system doesn't act like that. Like
Yeah.
you're still a valuable human being, regardless of the content or how much content, or whether you think personally it's like high value or highly curated or whatever. You're still important, and it's definitely hard to remember that you need to be nice to yourself. So I think just like being nice to yourself and giving yourself space to first of all have those feelings, and then to remind yourself that you are more than just those streaming numbers or how you thought it went.
Kate, how do you feel about imposter syndrome?
There's a few things there that I want to say about that. So I actually made notes because as KitKat was speaking, I was like, oh yeah, that's I want to build on that, and I want to kind of address that. Maybe not directly related to imposter syndrome, but some of the things that can sometimes add to it or help it. Imposter syndrome is a thing, and it's so common. If you've got it, it's not about, it shouldn't be kind of an isolating feeling because it's pretty common. So it actually, I know we're talking about streaming, but we're also talking sort of about work-life balance, so particularly, if you're having a full-time job and also doing streaming. So it's actually a conversation that comes out fairly regularly at my job as well. I've had this conversation with my manager multiple times this year. The role that I have gone into is not something I have a great deal of experience in, but it's something that I know that I bring skills to from other roles. I've had quite a few various types of jobs over the years, and I know that I hold the skills that are required for this role, but I also know that I've got a lot to learn. And basically, imposter syndrome is saying that if you boil it down, it's like acknowledging that you have places to grow and learn, and that is everybody. Nobody knows everything all the time. And if you think you do, you're probably wrong.
Yeah.
You're probably lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody's got all the answers. And imposter syndrome is just that you want to learn more effectively. Like you want to do better, or you want to learn more about whatever it is that you're doing. So one of the things, in my opinion, that it adds to it, or that maybe is the biggest contributor to it in streaming, is the comparison thing that KitKat talked about.
Yes.
So it's so easy to do. It's so easy to fall into as well, and not be able to crawl out of that hole of comparing yourself to others. And even if it's not, even if you're just comparing yourself to someone slightly with slightly larger channel than you, you've got to. We can't be the same. We can't grow at the same rate.
No.
All of our situations are different. We all have other things outside of streaming that we've got to balance. So comparison in itself is not necessarily a bad thing, but what is dangerous to your sort of mental health is when you start believing that what they have is what you should have, or what is achievable and viable for you. Like it's not necessarily going to be achievable for you, but using someone as inspiration is a different thing, right? So that can be more healthy, but comparison is so difficult to deal with as a streamer. You see people grow way faster and or be more prolific. Like that's something that I personally really struggle with as a Sims content creator. When I build and I like create my YouTube videos for speed builds, I can't make content any faster than I'm currently making it. And it's pretty slow. And that's something I personally really find difficult to deal with, because I want to make it faster, but my brain just won't let me sit down and do the thing that I need to do, or edit the video or record my voiceover. And meanwhile, I've seen, creator that that I admire release 5 videos in the time that I'm still mulling about whether or not to release this video or to record my voiceover.
The thing is, though, other people have different things. Like, for example, they might have somebody that does it for them.
Yeah.
So,
or they might have been doing it longer, or they might
have
not
a system.
work full
exactly.
time, or
exactly.
Yeah.
You just don't
or
know.
they might just be super. They can get things done quickly.
Yeah.
I can't. My brain works a lot slower than that.
I've been getting a lot of imposter syndrome recently, and even as recent as I had my community day about a week ago, and basically I literally messaged my mod and said, I don't think anyone's going to show up. Like, I don't think anyone's going to be there for my community day, because I'm like, I'm not really that important person. Like, why am I even doing community days? Who is in my community? Who wants to watch me? Like, it's not real. Like, no one's going to be there. Yeah. And I was like, why am I putting so much effort into this? What if nobody wants to play games with me? Like, it just, honestly, it's just...
relatable.
It just keeps happening to me. And I just get so worried about it. And then, like, most recently, like, I had people messaging me on Blue Sky. And because I've been trying to push Blue Sky, you probably have been seeing me do this. I've been trying to push Blue Sky a lot recently because I'm trying to shift from Twitter to Blue Sky. I am not being paid by Blue Sky. I should probably say that, because I keep telling people to move to Blue Sky with me. But yeah, so I have been growing a bit on Blue Sky, and I've been getting messages on Blue Sky. And I've been like, who, me? Like, why are they saying nice things to me? Like, they're like DMing me, like saying, oh, I really love your content and this and that. And I'm like, who? Did you come to the right inbox? Sorry, who is this?
Who are you?
I know. And even like this whole like podcast thing as well. Like, I was only doing it because we unlocked, it was something that I've always wanted to do, and it was something that we unlocked as like a community challenge. And what had happened was I said to KitKat, this is going to be the first and last podcast most likely. But then I started getting people messaging me saying, I really loved this. Like, as a streamer, I loved hearing your perspectives, and it's so real. And I feel like you're saying things that people are afraid to talk about. You're talking about the things, you're being upfront, you're being real about it. And these are the challenges that we face as streamers. You know, I'm so glad that there's a platform for it now. The thing is, for a long time, I struggled with those comments, because I was like, is this real? Do I keep going? And then season 3, here we are. So sometimes, like you said, you gotta ignore some of the imposter syndrome inside of you and just go for it. Like, whatever you're scared of doing and trying, just do it. People will be there.
Right.
You said something earlier to do with another question.
Yes.
That I think is really applicable here and really important when it comes to imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Is surrounding yourself with supporters.
That's right.
And like your champions,
Yes.
whether it's IRL people like partners or family or friends, or just people in your community if it's your mods or, you know, those who kind of show up and but not expecting it of them, but, you know, just acknowledging that there are people out there that are cheering for you, and particularly IRL people, because then you can use that as a bit of a, if it's the streaming thing that the imposter syndrome takes its form in, then it's important to have that kind of escape, to have that support outside of it.
Yeah.
And put things into perspective as well, I think.
Yeah. And I think something that was said earlier in chat, I just wanted to quickly read it. I lost it now. Hang on. Oh, no, I've lost it completely. It was just something about, here we go, actually. It was something that...
Is it collection?
Yes. Do you
About
have
imposter
it?
syndrome?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you read it?
Imposter syndrome makes me mad because it's always people who are doing a great job and shouldn't feel that way.
Yes. And I 100% feel that way about you guys. And KitKat, like, you know, when I honestly feel like, you know, when KitKat's like, oh, I'm not gonna make it, it's fine. I'm like, I honestly think you have what it takes. Like, you're so sweet, honestly. Everyone that comes onto my podcast, I just know I am literally their biggest cheerleader. And, you know, just these are some wonderful people that deserve a lot of love. So if you're listening, you're watching, click the links below and come follow my guests, because they are absolutely amazing. Because they're
right back at
like,
ya.
you guys are so like cozy, And like we said, like non-toxic chaos, but chaos in the right amount of way, okay? But as you said, like I hear and I see other people. And again, it's this whole thing, Kate. Remember how we said we give advice, we don't take it? I'm so good at like being like, oh, I don't understand why they're being this way. And then me in the next 5 minutes, oh, nobody wants to be here. Like,
I
why am
know logically how I should, I'm a pretty logical person.
Yes.
So logically, I could map out how I should behave, what I should do in order to make
Right.
myself happy. But that's not the world we live in. Humans' brains do not work that way when you play things out. And when other factors come in, like a comment or you have a quieter stream or, you may logically understand that it doesn't matter ultimately. It doesn't change that we're complicated humans and we have these emotions and they show up when you don't ask for them.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Uninvited, please.
Always.
Yeah. I think as well, like, going back to our other question from the previous podcast where we talked about the negative comments and difficult situations, sometimes it's really hard to deal with those. And then when you're in the middle of having an imposter syndrome, it's really hard because then they sort of like really take you down and it takes some time to get back up.
Right.
And
even if it's just one.
exactly.
Often it is just one, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it feels like many. And that's where you've got to try and, I guess, the emotional brain is taking over, thinking that it's bigger than it really is. And it's hard to get the logical brain to take over.
There is that emotional side of streaming as well. Like we didn't get into that part too much, but there is the question was, how do we handle the emotional side of streaming? And that's really hard because we do put ourselves out there. Like, this is one thing that people would say as well, that people that don't stream, that will say, well, you're putting yourself out there, so you should be expecting this, right? But then, yes, but also it's something like, like you guys were saying as well, like when you said, we're inviting people in to our lives and sort of drawing the line, where do we do that and where we don't. But also it's like I view streaming, I've said this before, as like, this is like you're coming into my home and it's just about how do we deal with that. So we draw a line, we tell you like, that's not okay, this is not okay. And I guess that's how we would handle that sort of emotionally. I don't want to say it's emotionally draining, but if somebody starts trauma dumping, it's really hard.
Yeah. And I mean, it's great that they feel safe, or
That's right.
do they, like, sometimes depending on like how familiar you are with them.
That's right.
It's like, again, who are you? Like, I don't want to, like, I appreciate lurking so much. I lurk in a lot of streams. But if, say, someone is a lurker and they come in for the first time and maybe say something very trauma dumping, or you just like haven't really talked to them very much, or even outside, like, even if someone just comes in to tell you a celebrity died or something, it's like
very random.
Right, it's so random, or like, the Queen of England is dead or something. Like, people were doing that day.
But I didn't love that. Sorry, let me just correct that. I didn't love that. I just meant I did a whole bit about it, about the whole Queen of England passing away. Because if you don't know, me and Liz, we go way back. We're like besties. Like, it just happened. And I
went to school together.
I did a whole thing where I came onto stream in like black dress and a hat and sunglasses, and then people immediately unfollowed me. And somebody unfollowed
Some
that
people
day.
are weird about the royal family.
Oh my
I bet they
God.
were Americans. Americans are so weird about the royal family. I don't understand.
Oh my God, it was funny.
It's because it doesn't affect them. Maybe I'm just guessing. It's because directly.
I was like born in England, so obviously like it's been thrown at my face the whole time. So please, like, but yeah, like what you said, I think as well, like just I don't mind if it's my community members that have been around for a while and they want to talk to me about some stuff that's going on in their life, I'm okay with that. Like it's again, it's like, where do we draw the line? It's like, but trauma dumping, if it's like somebody who's, do you know people do this purposely as well? Do you know that?
Yeah.
Some people come in.
I mean, I didn't know, but I assume.
Yes, some people do it purposely. I had somebody come in and they basically lied and they said that their father had passed away. And for me, that was really hard because my father has passed away. So
how did you find out that they lied?
Because they are known to do that to everyone. They go to people's chat and they say this. They do that. I know, and I found that out, like that people do that, like just because they want to get attention and sympathy from the streamer.
Yeah, that's really hard.
They want that attention. And then again, let's go back to imposter syndrome, because in my mind, I was like, why would they do that? I'm nobody. Like, I'm just a streamer. I'm just like, sitting here. I'm just playing a game. I'm nobody. Like, why would they do that to me? So again, this is going back to imposter syndrome, because I think to myself, that can't be possible. It should be right. It should be true. And I believed people, because in my mind, I was like, why would people lie to me? I'm just a nobody.
Why would you think it was a lie? Yeah.
Right.
And why would someone lie about that?
Yes. Yes.
Like, I think there's a level to, if you are like, a frequent community chatter member, like in stream, and even if you like do feel comfortable, like, oh, I could tell you guys like what's going on, but like, I think maybe it's me just like thinking and knowing that as a streamer, I don't want to do that to other people. Even if the streamer like is fine with it, there could be other people in chat that had something similar happen to them that are still dealing with that. Like after my dog passed, I was like, just listening to a streamer that I have been following in their community for a long time, and she's always like, how are you doing? And
was it me?
I was like, oh, it's been no, it wasn't you. It was it was like during when I was working.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh, how are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm having a really hard time. Like, I don't really want to. She's saying, well, you could talk about it if you want. And I was like, no, it's like, I'll just say it deals with pet loss. Like, I don't really want to trigger anybody. And it's upsetting to talk about anyway. And so it kind of like shares a little bit just the gist of what it is without going into detail about what happened and how it happened and all my feelings about it. Like, obviously I'm really upset because I am saying that, it's really hard, and it's not trying to necessarily like get sympathy from people. It's just sort of sharing that this is why, maybe I'm not as friendly or chatty as I normally would be. And I think just trying to share that.
Yeah, and that's great. And like, I think that if a streamer wants to know, I think just, I guess that's fine. It just, like you said, every streamer is a bit different. Like, some people just don't want to talk to you at all about that kind of stuff, like at all.
Yeah.
But like for me, I always say that I have a safe space. So if you do want to chat about things, like we have some lengthy mental health chats sometimes, like really lengthy, and I guess it depends on each individual streamer. And it's okay to not want those kind of things as well. It's okay to not want those lengthy conversations, because that can be hard on other people. But it's just, again, it's just finding that balance, which is what we're talking about today. So many things about finding the balance. So it's just, I think that inevitably we just don't have a balance. That's what we're saying. It's just, we just go.
Well, it's work.
Yeah.
It's work to continue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go into chat. Guys, if you have any questions, post them in chat. And also, if you guys want to read any comments that have been said and want to talk about those comments from people in chat, please do. Collection said, I've realized there's so many people out there that don't realize that saying stuff really affects the streamer, even if it's something small.
That's the thing about the internet, is there are millions of people out there, and there's people who don't think the same way as you and who don't.
Right.
And there's lots of different different types of people with different backgrounds and experiences and thoughts about the way things should be in different scenarios.
Plus the balancing of trying to make jokes and be entertaining whilst also be sympathetic to the bad news. Oh my God, isn't that
That's
so hard?
so difficult.
Oh.
I'll be right in the middle of like something really jolly and light and fluffy, and then someone will say something that's not that, that's the opposite.
Right.
And it feels like I don't know what to say sometimes. I find it really tricky to respond to things, and I want it to be a safe space and for people to feel comfortable. Sometimes it can be a bit confronting and a bit awkward, and I do my best, but I am sort of like, oh, I've got to take myself out of that jolly space. And then how do you get back into it, you know, without keep creating that mood.
Yeah.
It's like getting hit, like you're walking along, just minding your own business, and just getting like hit with a ball or something.
Yeah,
like,
that's it. You're just
like where did you come from?
Got
like
hit in the face. Okay. Yep.
This escalated.
Escalated so dramatically. And sometimes I think when you're trying to reassure someone, it's hard to know when to go back to that space. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Be like, anyway, like
And
you don't want them to, you don't want them to
Feels
feel
rude,
like they're right, that they're like being brushed off. But yeah, especially depending on like what it is, it's just like this might not be the best place for it. Because like we do have I have a mental like a safe space channel in the Discord that I've used I think probably the most, but like to share those things and, you know, I'll be able to have trigger warnings so that people can look at that when they're able to and not just like put it out there. I keep getting too close to the camera. But just like plopping it in and seeing how it hits. It's not really the way to go about that on a live stream.
Yeah, yeah. Just really quickly, I'm not going to answer Villa's questions. Those are some good, really, really good questions, but I feel like we might be answering them soon anyway. So what we'll do is, if it's okay with you, Villa, we're just going to put a pin on your, I've just copied and pasted your message. And what we're going to do is we're going to answer them if we don't answer them fully. If that makes sense? Because we got one more chat break coming up. So if we don't answer those questions for you in that time, we will absolutely answer them later. It's just because, I'm so sorry. He's just laughing his head off. Yeah. You've been lurking
as well. Shut up, Pete.
What did Pete say? What did he say?
He said, I never answer your question, Villa.
Wow. He always does this. And he was like, oh, so Kay's going back to regular streaming then, where she's just ignoring the chat because apparently that's what I do. God, just anyway. They even have an invisible command, you guys. They created an invisible command. It says ! invisible, and it says, oh, at YouKayy is ignoring us again. It's hard.
That could be appropriate.
Listen, it's really hard to play a game and, you know, stream and you know, just talk to people at the same time. Sometimes, oh God, here we go.
Yeah. You've started it now. Oh dear.
I know. Was there any other questions, friends, that you had? There was a question about, oh God, don't do that. Don't start this. And there was a question for KitKat earlier. It was just such a random question. They were asking what was KitKat drinking.
Oh, yeah. It was hot cocoa.
Oh, nice.
Because I got back from my walk and it was warmer than it has been, but it was still pretty chilly. And so I would like base was in. And so I was like, I need some hot chocolate.
Is it snowing where you are?
No, thankfully.
Will it? Does it usually?
Well, winter or December is a little iffy. Like, it could be like, I don't want to say the temperature because it's not going to make any sense to some people.
Wait, why?
But it can be like nice and balmy. It could be like 60 degrees, which I don't know what that is in Celsius. Like 15, I don't know, something like that. Or it could be like this week it was like 2 degrees, which I think is like -12 or something for you guys.
Celsius?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Fahrenheit?
Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's pretty cold. Yeah.
So it has snowed already, but like, I don't know, because of climate change, it usually, like, it doesn't always snow in December.
Now. Yeah, it's so different now. It's weird for us. It's weird for me because I haven't seen snow for how long have I been in Australia? I've been in Australia for 8-9 years. I haven't seen snow in that long. It's so weird for me. Kate, does it snow in New Zealand?
It definitely snows in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Because you can go skiing and snowboarding, and where I live quite north, and so because we're in the southern hemisphere, that means warmer,
Closer to the equator.
So in my city, we may get a tiny snow flurry every like 50 years or something. I think a few years back there was like snow flurry, very light one day, and everyone freaked out.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So no, it
Experienced
doesn't snow where I live, but yes, in New Zealand it does.
Yeah. I mean, I know it snows in Australia, like in the mountains. I've never been. I need to go just to witness the snow for a second. I don't know. I feel like snow deprived. I don't know. But what was funny, because I hated snow growing up in England. I hated it because like I'd be walking back from work and I would slip, and it's so unsafe. I don't know how they let us go to school and work. I don't even know. The amount of times I've fell and hurt my butt, and honestly, I've hurt my butt. I phoned my manager and I was like, hey, I can't come in today. I was like, why? I was like, I've really hurt my ass. Like, I really, really hurt my butt. Honestly, it's so painful.
Imagine that phone call.
He was fully laughing. He was like, that's not an excuse. You need to come into work. And I was like, listen, I can't. My butt is, I can't explain. My butt is in so much pain. I just can't.
And I've been told that the English are really bad at dealing with the snow, so like don't expect anything.
Oh my God,
from them.
we just can't handle it. I just don't understand how in a country that is just known for coldness, we just can't handle cold. I just don't understand.
Right.
Like I used to live in London, and in the winter it
it's cold.
It doesn't snow heavy in London. Again, it's quite a warm because it's so busy and there's so much happening.
Yes,
I guess it's slightly warmer, like a microclimate.
Yeah,
but if it did snow, the whole city would freak out. Like trains would have to be delayed, and it's like, this happens every year.
I know, but every year it's like, oh, we didn't realize it was going to happen. Yeah. Oh, we're not prepared. Gumba said, I used to have walk on basically solid ice on the way to school on a hill, and it was so ridiculous. I know the amount of time. I say this, I don't know if you guys have experienced it before, but it's basically, I mean, KitKat, if you've been in -12, my God, you would have witnessed it. But when I was walking and like basically your snot would come out and then it would freeze. Yeah. So you'd have snotcicles, it would freeze on your face.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I call them snotcicles.
I've never been in that intense cold environment before.
Oh my goodness. We get that here where, your nose hairs just freeze.
Yeah. It just everything. Like I remember the time where I was trying to phone my brother to pick me up because I could not walk anymore, and I was like, I can't. I need to see, and I could not even get my phone out. I was like this, like the whole time. I was like, oh my God, just ring, and it took me like a good 5 minutes just to ring him. Hang on, what was Boo was surprised that is it? Am I saying that okay, Boo? Do you want to be called anything else? Is Boo okay? They were getting like shocked with -12. Yes, that is true. People from Australia go to New Zealand to ski because it's way better than our slopes.
And then someone said Japan too, which is true.
Yes, Japan. Yeah.
Aussies love to go there for skiing and snowboarding.
The fact that school didn't grit it down is crazy. I know. This is what I mean. Every year the winter comes around and they don't prepare. A few flakes of snow and all this train stop. Oh my God, the train situation used to drive me insane in England. I hated it. It snowed.
We're at least like prepared. We do typically prepare. It's just sometimes we get a couple of feet. Just you're trapped.
And I know there's some places that you can't even open your front door. Like, because it's so frozen, like you can't even open your car door.
Can't even open the car door. Yeah, I was gonna say.
They just don't care about the kids. Yeah, I mean, even as an adult, they still made me go to work. So frustrating. I'm like, all right, you know what? Let's do it. We'll get the Prime Minister onto the the podcast next time, and we'll ask him, and we'll also ask him why he's not doing anything about freeing Palestine. We'll ask those important questions. We're gonna
ask a lot of questions. Number one, how dare you?
Get all the world leaders here. We'll smash everything out in one day, one session.
We'll sort it out. Yeah. Human-centered design it all so that we collaborate.
Wow, there you go.
There you go. Exactly. That's what's... We've got an expert here.
That's it. We got an expert.
Co-design. It's called co-design. Yeah.
Why Kate's not in the political party, I don't know.
Oh, I would die. Last place I want to be.
I cry too much.
Yeah. That scene in Dumb and Dumber when they get to Aspen. That's funny. Boo is fine. Will probably know me as Brie, but I am chill with anything. Okay. Okay. Let's go on to the next part. We did talk about mental health. Let's talk about a bit more specifically about balancing streaming with a job, because those questions have already come up in chat, and I'm just going to go ahead and see. And if they don't answer any of your questions, Villa, we will answer them again later. So balancing a job and streaming can be overwhelming. What does a typical day look like for you? This is quite interesting for viewers and also other streamers to know how we do that. No one wants to go first.
Well, I think on like a day that I do
yes.
Day.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I do have a consistent schedule unless Pete tells me to call in sick, or I'm on vacation or something.
Yeah.
But, I do my 8 hours during the daytime. And then when I get home from work, it's usually about 4:00 on a day that I stream. And so I'll take the dog out for as long as we can so that he tires himself out, because he's like in his little crate most of the day, because otherwise he would terrorize the cat and just destroy the house.
Yeah, we should probably address that Kitkat just got a new dog, a puppy.
I have a puppy. Yes, it's not. That's not a dog. It's a puppy. He's 6 months old, and he is a monster. But he's lucky. He's very cute. So he has the puppy energy. He needs to in an ideal world, he's getting walked for an hour at least to tire him out, because then if we come back to the house, I have dinner, I feed the pets, and then it's time to start stream pretty fast. I have about 2 hours between when I get home from work to when I typically try to start stream. And then if he's not tired enough, he is just constant. I've noticed that streams just feel really chaotic to me, because I'm like, what's he doing? That's why he's put away right now. Yeah. Just making sure he's not eating something he's not supposed to. A couple of weeks ago, he bit through my Ethernet cable while I was live. Of course, he had to do it when I was live. And so it was a 20-minute stream, and I was just it's not going to work because the Wi-Fi was not, it was struggling. So it's just kind of balancing and making sure he keeps himself busy with things that aren't my electronics or my, stuffed animals that are everywhere. It's I don't want him eating those because he will. But so then now I stream for about 2.5 hours during the week because I have to go to bed.
Yeah. So how many days do you stream for people to know?
I stream Mondays and Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, and then Friday and Saturday typically at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's all typically the same time.
So 4 times a week.
4 times a week. And then the weekend streams can usually be a little bit longer. Usually 3 hours, maybe 3.5 or 4. But now with the puppy, again, he's got to be kept busy with something and either put away, which I feel bad about sometimes, or if he's tired enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's usually what it looks like.
What about you, Kate?
Yeah, so I stream twice a week. And when
are those days?
Well, New Zealand time, which no one else is on generally.
Me,
Most
I'm
of my community is overseas.
Yeah.
Is Wednesday 6 p.m., Saturday 10 a.m. When I didn't have a job, I streamed 4 days a week at different, like in the mornings, because I'm more of a morning person personally. And then when I started this job in February, I wanted to be quite strategic about what days I streamed, because for me, consistency is important. Like that is one thing that I want to offer, and I want to kind of be there for my community. So although, yes, I'll take days off, or I might take a break, or whatever, I wanted to pick days that I was most likely to commit to going forward. So my Saturdays, I guess, for obvious reasons, are much easier because I don't work on a Saturday, Sunday. I work Monday to Friday. And then the choice to do Wednesday evenings was mostly, I used to do it too, but it worked as well with this job because I work hybrid. So I work from the office 2 or 3 days a week, and then the other days I get to work from home. Mm-hmm. So on a Wednesday, generally, I have the ability to work from home. So it's way easier to stream in the evening if I've been working from home. And it's considerably more difficult for me to stream in the evening if I've been working at the office. Yeah. So it doesn't always work out for me. Sometimes I have to be in the office. Last week I had to be in the office on Wednesday, and so I actually said, not sorry, but I am having to take my midweek stream off because it's an unrealistic turnaround. Sometimes I can get home in time to stream, but generally if I'm doing my commute's an hour and a half-ish. So it's just the commute is tiring. Plus I've been in the office. It's been like sort of a lot of people, overstimulation. Yeah. The streaming is really kind of the last thing I want to do on a day like that. But working from home is much different. So I'm in my own space. I have that commute time's been cut out. And I generally will finish up work. I like to start early and finish early too. So then if it's a work from home day, that gives me even extra time between finishing up work and starting stream. So I'll generally clock off about 4-ish because I've started early, and then I have 2 hours between when I want to stream. I'm often late to stream as well. But I aim to start at 6. So in those 2 hours, I'll generally tools down for work. I'll often sit down and watch TV for sort of 4 to 5-ish or 4 to 4:30 just to debrief from the day and get my mind off work. Then I'll generally cook dinner, so maybe 30 to 40 minutes of cooking, and then I'll sit down, eat in front of some trashy TV, and then give myself about 20 minutes to set up stream. The frustrating thing sometimes for me with being a sim streamer, is that Wednesday New Zealand time is often patch day. So I think it's like a Tuesday the US, but patch days are always on the same day of the week. And so I'll often finish work, and then I'll have to update my game, make sure I've backed up everything, update my mods. So I also am quite strategic about what I do on a Wednesday night, particularly on those weeks. So I'll do things that I don't really need any mods in for. I'll do something a bit more chill, a bit more low key, and then my streams itself are generally shorter on a Wednesday evening because even starting streaming, I can be a little bit tired, but then I'm a bit of a nana. I like to be in bed early-ish. Usually it's by 2.5 hours, I'm pretty done, if not before then.
I feel like you guys have such a good schedule and stuff. Mine is like so all over the place. I'm going to see if I can bring this up without doxing myself. Hang on one second. Nope, I'm going to dox myself. Oh, no, it's fine. I used to be able to show you, but now it's doing this thing. I'm going to see if I can just show you. Oh, here we go. I'm just going to show you. This is my calendar for December, and there is a something on every single day. This is how I manage my day. So for those of you that are listening, I basically showed you a calendar of my entire December where I'm constantly doing something where there's always like either a small pin or a big pin, and it shows you that I'm doing something. I think I want to get to the stage where you guys are at as well. And I think that's what I'm going to learn to do as well, which is having those like set days that you're doing something. I think for me, typical day is different on different days, because I did say that I do work in optical and in hearing, but I actually have other things that I do. I actually help people get jobs as well. So I help them with interviews, I do their resumes, things like that. I also help people with social media. I used to do that a lot more, do it less frequently now. So it kind of depends on who I have at the moment, that they'll say to me, I need help with this, and this, or I need help with specifically just a resume or, social media stuff or whatever it is. It depends. So like sometimes I can't do any streaming after work. So if I'm having like a day in like optical or hearing, I can't do anything, because I come home and like you said, I'm on the sofa and I'm just there, like I cannot do anything. I just need to eat and then sleep. I can't. I've been all day running around. In terms of streaming, I do streaming 2 days a week consistently, which is like Saturday, Sunday EST time. But for me, it's Sunday and Monday. Isn't that funny? Like I'm always a day before. Same as Kate, I guess. Before stream, a typical day, what that looks like is I'm running around like a headless chicken. And then I'm like stressing about going live, and then I go live. And then after stream, I'm always doing something. So after stream, I always have something planned with my family or my friends. So basically I got to run from stream, either have an appointment or hang out with people, and then I'm straight out the door. This is why I don't lurk that much. Like I lurk a lot, but like I can't be at streams as much. So for me, balancing and streaming is very overwhelming. Sometimes like I just try and find a time. So I think by putting it in my calendar, I think that's how I'm surviving at the moment. So the best way to manage that is if you want to do it like how I'm doing it, which I don't recommend, is just putting everything into a calendar. So I even have my streaming into the calendar. Like I'm streaming from this time to this time. So yeah, that's my day is very different depending on the day. So I don't have a typical day, because it could be anything. Like sometimes I'll skip a meal as well, and it's just awful. Which don't skip a meal. Don't listen to me. Don't do that. Eat your food. It's very important.
My Saturdays are a bit closer to sort of how you described.
Yeah,
a bit more sort of loose, because my Saturdays are I want to do other things with friends and family.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I think I'm trying to focus a little bit more on spending time with my family now. I think that's just so important to do that. Do you guys have anything else to add to that?
I like to have some kind of form of commitment to the community. And earlier I said I don't owe anyone anything, and I still believe that. But I still am. I've built myself a brand, and both things are true, and I want to provide content for the community.
Yes.
So I do try to commit, but I make my commitments achievable and small. And then anything on top of that is like a bonus.
Yeah, that's it. This is what I'm doing now as well, which is I do the 2 days, and then I do the bonus streams, which is on the Friday. And sometimes like if it's like a public holiday in Australia, I'll do it on that day. So like I might be streaming on Christmas Day, which is Christmas Day is going to be. Is that your
for
Christmas?
You? So Christmas Eve
Christmas
for the
Eve
States?
for us.
So that's Christmas Eve for you guys, yeah? For Kitkat. Yeah. That's it's so confusing. Sorry, I get confused when I'm doing the time zone stuff.
I get even confused like when we fall back and you spring forward and we spring forward and you fall back.
Oh my god,
I love.
Oh my god,
it's so much better when we're like when it's closer together.
Yes.
When we've sprung forward and you guys when you guys are cold.
It's so hard. It's so hard because
so much better for me.
Yeah, this is the other thing. Like I don't know if you find that, Kate, which is like, for example, this is what I'm struggling with at the moment, because it used to be, because I have a lot of American viewers. I don't know what kind of viewers you guys get.
I was going to ask you a question actually about that, but you might be about to answer it.
So I get a lot of American viewers, and nowadays I'm getting everyone from everywhere now, but Germany, France, like anywhere really now, but in India, like anywhere. But I've predominantly was American, and then so then it used to be like 6 p.m. their time was when I started. Now it's like 3 p.m. and it's like they're just like, what's happening with YouKayy? I can't catch your streams. But then in the other respect, this time of the year, I'm getting all my European viewers back, because then it's like not too late for them to watch me, because now it's like 9 p.m. their time or 10 p.m. their time. So it's such a weird thing. Is that what you were going to ask?
I was actually going to ask more specifically, because you talked about the 2 days you stream, Sunday, Monday, your time, and then you said you actually said the Eastern time first, the US.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, do you think you create your schedule to cater more to your viewers than to yourself? Like, it feels like you're, in some sense, you first prioritize what works for your kind of main audience and then also ensuring that it works for you. But just the way you worded it sounds like your thinking is like them first and then you, which I find quite fascinating.
I always think of them first because it's just, I know that most people aren't in I don't get many Australians or anyone from New Zealand, in fact. I know you do, okay, but I don't actually.
I'm there sometimes.
Yeah. So I don't get that many Australians or New Zealand people. So I tend to talk about that. But in terms of working around, unfortunately, it is still working around my schedule. I know people that change their schedule to suit American times. For example, if I wanted to change it to American times, I would change it to, so I stream about 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m. my time, which I could technically change to theirs to 9 or 10 a.m., which I have done. In the very beginning of my streaming, I used to change it back to their time. So it matched with them, so that it was still like 6 p.m. their time. But I don't do that anymore because I need to have time with my family. So therefore, it doesn't matter. I'm just very apologetic. Oh, see, I'm apologetic. I'm apologetic that I'm starting at 3 p.m. their time instead of 6 p.m. their time. And it is affecting my views, but it is what it is. You got to prioritize yourself and your family. Which goes into my next question, which is, how do you prioritize tasks and manage your time to ensure that you can excel at both? So for me, it's just unfortunate that I'm losing the viewers now because of the time difference and the time zone changes that keep happening. But it's just balancing. I love streaming. I do. I love streaming. I love gaming. I love this community. I love doing the podcast. I love all of these things. But I've at the stage of my life that I realize I need to prioritize my family. So my family needs to come first. So even if that means I'm losing those viewers, it's okay because I have to prioritize my time with my family. What about you guys? If you're answering that question, which is, how do you prioritize your tasks and managing your time to ensure that you can excel at both?
Can I jump in first?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I might forget my train of thought.
Yeah, I feel like you were there. That's why I needed to get into that question.
So to me, there's like two parts of that question, and the short answer is that I can't excel at both.
Okay,
like,
that's fair.
I would take that last bit out of the question. Like, it's not. There's no way I could excel in both. I guess it's how do you quantify excelling in, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
like, what do you count as like a it depends on what you're looking for in streaming.
The other thing that I was thinking as you were speaking is that I've just kind of come to the realization through our discussion today is we keep talking about balance. How do we balance these things? How do we manage the balance? And then we're also talking about what do we prioritize in our life. And for me, at least, I have certain priorities that are first, second, third, etc. And I'm just sort of realizing now,
I love
got it live, my realization, that I think I need to stop thinking about it as a balance,
right?
And just think of it as prioritization, because the term balance assumes some kind of equity or equality.
Yes.
And there isn't.
No.
If you, then it's a direct kind of contradiction to then talking about priorities.
Yeah.
How do you balance streaming and family? You don't. One is more of a priority than the other. And so.
Or should be.
Yeah, and so trying to strive for a balance might actually be quite an unhealthy way of framing it and thinking about it. But thinking about putting energy into things where and when you can, according to their priorities, is maybe more of a realistic or healthy way. So what was the question again?
No, that was great. Do you know what I love? This is exactly the name of this podcast is Streamer Therapy, and this is what we're doing. We are
This is my
Breakthroughs.
favorite.
we are in a therapy session. I mean, I'm not getting paid $200 an hour, but you know,
I'm not paying you.
yeah, no, I mean, it's not. Actually, I've paid for them both to be here, which is why I'm so broke, you know? I just, yeah. No, but thank you for doing this for free.
Did that kind of answer, or was there another?
No, I
sort of
think that was
loop
beautiful. I
there?
think that was great. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But do you guys know what else is free? It's following us. You know, there's links in the box below or on the side or wherever you get your podcast and where you're looking. But yeah, definitely that is free. So come give us a follow. I just wanted to plug us in there just really quick. I don't do that often in the podcast. So yeah. KitKat, would you answer that question differently? How are you
I think
prioritizing?
it's, yeah, I think it's similar. Because like if something comes up, because I typically stream on Saturday evenings or Friday evenings, like a couple of weeks ago after I got my dog, my puppy, my monster, he, one of my friends who lives here, who I don't hang out with people very often. Most of my friends do not live
People
in
are the
town,
worst.
but
It's fine. Who wants to hang
it's
out
very
with
people-y
people?
out there. It's stressful.
Yeah.
But you know, early in the week, it's actually my older sister, Sinatra Girl's best friend from high school. She lives like 8 minutes away from me, and she's actually checking on Chewy during the day when I be in the office
Aw.
all day,
That's nice.
which is so helpful because then he doesn't poo himself. But and he's getting better at it, at holding it. But my sister was just like, do you want to come over to Megan's? Because she has a dog that's a year and a half old, and she's like, they can meet and run around. And I was like, I would love that because he'll be tired afterwards.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like a Friday when I normally stream, and I was just like, but I'm not doing it. Sorry, guys. Like, I'm not gonna be streaming. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Actually, something that Kate was saying about balance and how it's not possible. So an HR lady at work
Oh,
actually
was
was
Karen?
no, her name is actually the same as my sister's, but
okay.
You mean
it's a very
Sinatra
common
Girl?
name.
Yeah, her name is
Yeah, they have the
That's
same
common
name. It's weird
American
that
name.
another parent would name their kid Sinatra. Sinatra Girl even. But she was at like, it was like a little not company, like an office staff retreat for the day that we had her come and talk about HR type stuff with work and, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's usually useless, but she was talking about how work-life balance, she's like, that's not a thing. Like, work is a part of life, but it shouldn't be like your whole life. For some people, and I think a lot of, especially like American culture, like they act like it should be your whole life. It should be your personality. Like, what do you want to do when you grow up? Be like, what are you going to be? She's like, we have to like rethink that because like some people love their jobs and that's great. You can enjoy your job, but it's like not who you are. To quote Barbie, like you're not your girlfriend, you're not your boyfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
I always quote Barbie.
Always quote Bobby.
But again, you have to prioritize like what is important to you. Whether, I mean, it could be streaming, it could be if that's what makes you happy and you enjoy that. It just has to be like, it's a personal decision about like what is the most important to you. And if you like, I cannot cancel stream, you know, to come have my dog run around in your backyard.
Yeah.
It's really doing me a favor.
Yeah.
Having him over there.
Yeah.
But just thinking like, where do I want to spend my time and what like, I guess fills my cup. I don't really like that terminology, but like what makes me happy and not just like what am I doing for other people or what do I think I'm doing for other people? What am I doing for myself? To sort of bring a little bit of joy to sometimes a really difficult life.
Yeah. No, I think like as you said, it's just prioritizing. It's not balancing. Okay, that's what we're realizing today. So,
and it also doesn't mean that one thing is not a priority.
Exactly.
It just means that in the ladder of priorities, it comes next.
Yes. Yeah. So like you have a list of to-do list. You have a to-do list and you have a list of things that you need to do, but you got to do them all, but it's just in what order, I guess. Yeah. So thank you for watching part 2 of our streamer therapy podcast, season 3. Please follow our channels and for the third and final episode, wherever you get your podcast, where we reflect more on mental health and work-life balance, or as we're talking about it now, prioritizing with stream and more. And don't forget to check the links for our guests to get to know us a bit more individually. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye.